people always are like, oh, what if I mess up this conversation with this random person on the street that I'm never gonna meet again? I always found that so stupid. I mean, if you're never ever gonna see that person again, it doesn't really matter what their opinion
Is
is
this
of
the
you.
secret to how you don't have shame?
Exactly. um, ever since I was about 8, I always I had the
This
ability.
fucker doesn't have shame, and I hate him for it.
Ever
He,
since
he, he literally could strip down naked, walk to the spa, walk back, and not flinch.
um, the secret to that I always found was, well, I didn't know it was a secret at the time. I thought it was a normal thing to just be able to walk up to strangers, and then I realized that it really wasn't, because my brother always freaked out when it came to going to random people and just asking them for something, like asking for directions at a supermarket or something, or a shopping mall. Um, but it's whoa, that was loud. It's weird because, like, when you think about it, it doesn't matter, man. Like, you're seeing this person maybe once, maybe twice in your entire life. Because there's 7 billion people on the earth. You're already that insignificant that it's a 2 in 7 billion chance that you're going to meet a stranger. And out of that 7 billion, there are probably countless extra life forms out there. We just haven't found them yet. And there are so many different planets, and just planets that outnumber what we can count to, and just infinite amount of space in the universe, that it really, really doesn't matter what anybody thinks of you except for yourself. Because you're so small and so insignificant that whatever anybody thinks of you shouldn't matter to you, because it doesn't matter to anyone. Because what they think, if they, after you met someone, if they continue to think about you, that means you made a real impact on them. And that is, I think, what counts. If they remember you, that means you changed what they thought was allowed. Say, for example, in Blue's example, you strip naked and walk to a shopping market. People are gonna remember you for that. You're probably gonna get arrested.
Probably.
Probably. But I mean, people will remember you, and that makes you just that little bit less insignificant, doesn't it? It makes it so that maybe if someone sees you again, they'll recognize you because you're not that insignificant.
You're that one kid who stripped naked and went to the shopping mall.
And then there's this weird thing that I always hear famous people explain. It's just like, you're so significant that you feel insignificant because you don't feel like you can be a normal human being with other people. You know? You always hear famous people say this. It's like, you hear famous people commit suicide because they feel lonely, like the lead singer of Linkin Park. That's allegedly why he committed suicide, is because he was so famous that he didn't feel like he could have any kind of normal conversation or his own life outside of Linkin Park, his own personal life. Which I get entirely. I mean, no human...
Because you're clearly the ultimate rock star.
Oh yeah. So much self-confidence. No, really.
Yeah, that's the one thing I know you're not self-confident in. It's like your music. Like, that's the one thing, like, you take really, like, harsh criticism in, and it's like, it's confusing for me because it's like one of the things that you're really most gifted in.
Music and sound is a great passion of mine, but I never really felt that I was good at it because I never really liked how it sounded, and that's part of the reason why I gave up playing guitars, because I always tried my hardest, and I know that sounds so dumb because it's like, oh no, you keep practicing and then it sounds good, but really that didn't work for me because unfortunately I have an ape brain and I just want goods now. It's just like, I want to have goods now. I want the food over there, I want it now. Being the best guitarist in the world, I want that now.
I want now, Dad.
I want it now, dude.
I want it now.
And I remember specifically, I wanted to play this one song. I think it was a Linkin Park song. I don't remember which one. It was a couple of months ago. My memory's pretty bad. But it's like, I really, really wanted to be good at it, and I practiced for weeks, and it never sounded good. and that really what stopped me. That's what like kicked me back from playing guitars. That moment where I realized that it's really not worth it for me to have to practice that much and not get anything out of it, not get any kind of reward. Because after looking at endless tutorials and then looking at endless notes and tabs and practicing it for hours and hours, there was no reward. And I really, for me, that doesn't cut it. If I can't get something out of it, at least a little smidgen of something out of it, then it's not worth it. And probably that's because maybe I'm not talented at all in guitar, and that's why I suck so much. But music is still one of my passions, and that's why I try to diversify it in the YouTube videos. But enough of that. What do we get into next?
Well, I wanted to just talk about like creativity in general. Like, I have my own creative processes, right? Like,
you like to draw.
You know my creative process. Like, for me, I can't think creative. I can't think of an idea. It has to hit me. I can't like sit down and be like, I'm gonna draw something now. Let's think of what I can draw. That doesn't work for me. I can think for hours and hours, and I just end up hitting Mr. Positive, like just drawing Mr. Positive and Miss Negative again. By the way, those are my character names.
Yeah, that's clever. Little ghost buddies on his shoes on the Instagram. Check that out.
That's like I always just hit back there again, and it's like really fucking annoying at this point. But you know I can't stop myself from that, so I just every time that on the rare occasion that I have an idea, like this whole mooncake thing.
Why are you so obsessed with pies, son?
I don't know. I want a pie. Every time I just like when an idea like that hits me, I know I have to pursue it in that second, because if I don't, I will either forget it or I will just lose the motivation to do it.
Yeah, it's sometimes I feel like that as well. I mean, just you feel like that slump just hits you, or not a slump, the opposite of which you just feel so inspired, and that's why I don't like school. School can be really good because it helps people in this world of just the internet and like the entire time being like that. School can help you come out in that way, but I mean, I don't think school allows you to express yourself enough creatively. Like when you get a really good idea, it's usually during the prime time of the day between about, let's say, 11 and like 3. I'd say that's when I get most energetic during the day, and I'm most likely to get some kind of really good idea. That or super early in the morning. Like if I wake up at 4 a.m. and I'll be like, damn, I can make like a Mario. I think that is a limiting factor of school, where during the prime time of your day when you feel most creative. I don't know when any of you feel the most creative, but for me that's a limiting factor of school, that you feel
sorry.
you get an idea and you just don't feel like it's gonna come to fruition, because you're like, oh, that would be so cool. Damn, if only I had some free time, like right now, and I could do it right now. That's why I love school holidays or like breaks, and you can just go and do it. That's what I do in my holidays. I get an idea and I can just get up and I can go do it, even if it's like 5 in the morning. While it's not a good idea that we use power tools at 5 in the morning when you're tired as hell, I can do it. I have the option to do it, and I have the option to express myself whenever I feel fit to do so. And whenever I get an idea, I also feel like I have to do it immediately or I might forget it. But I can also, I've learned over the years of school to stay motivated to do it, even if it'll take a couple of hours to get out of it and go to the workshop here and do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's just like I don't have as many options at home as you do here, like with my tools and stuff. So, like that's something that I always have to look at as well. Sometimes I like come up with an idea that I can't achieve at home by myself because I just don't have the tools to do it. And that is, trust me, you don't know this because you have all the tools that you need. That is
honestly like the worst.
When you don't feel like you have the tools to bring the thing that's in your head to a reality. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it's such a, oh my god, such a shitty feeling.
Yeah, I know. Like I remember when I started using power tools a couple of years ago to make some ones. This is the first power tool that I was ever allowed to use. Whoa, hiccups. Whoa. That thing. Are you done with your drawing? Nice. Watch this. So it's like this on the front, and then it's like that on the back.
Yeah, Copics.
Woo! Alcohol markers. They're not Copics.
That
You
paper,
bastard.
dude.
They're not Copics, you bastard. It's a little moon cake. Moon pie. Block.
That was a pretty smart.
Okay, anyway, I remember when I first was feedback. I remember when I was first allowed to use power tools when I was like, I think I was 15. 3 years ago, but yeah.
Jeez, dude, it was once 3 years ago.
Yeah, the ones are like 3 years ago.
Dude, that was like some of my first commissions back then, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, like that's crazy.
I remember when I was first allowed to use power tools, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then I used the jigsaw until the blade was blunt, and then I couldn't afford another blade, and I was like, I felt like I couldn't do anything with my life.
Broke ass bitch.
I felt like I couldn't do anything with my life because I didn't have this one power tool.
My life is useless.
Yeah, because you have plywood, and it's just such a cool thing to have, plywood, because it's wood. And then I found the heat gun, because I found that my grandfather fixed the heat gun. And I was like, wait, I saw in a YouTube video that you bend pipe with the heat gun, and then I started using that. And then the heat gun broke, and I was like, oh man. But
Sadness.
then I found that I had enough money again to afford another jigsaw, so I started working with plywood again, and then we bought another heat gun. It was just like, just remember, when you feel like you can't do anything, there's always something else to do. Even if you feel like there's nothing to do, you can always do something to stimulate your brain, to help you with that creative slump, to like get yourself out of that to get your creative juices flowing, to like have that. Just remember that power tools aren't a limiting factor in creativity. You can literally just take a stick and a piece of sandpaper or like a hacksaw and shape it to whatever your imagination wants you to be.
Epic. That's how I actually made my first one. Well, actually, I made my first one. Very different story. Very painful story. I wanted to make a one, right? And I wanted to use batoning technique with a knife. I'm actually coming to camera now. I'm done. I wanted to use like a.
Hold on. Yeah. Let's just do this.
Okay. So I want to use like this batoning technique that you do with the knife. So you place the knife on your piece of wood, take another piece of wood, baton through, move lots of material pretty quickly. Technically very good idea. Is very good idea if you have a good knife. Not if you're using a flip knife. If you're using a flip knife, the thing that keeps it from blowing up are lots of small metal rivets. Those are easy to pop out when you start batoning on something with immense pressure against these pins. I went through 2 pocket knives before I came to a conclusion that, oh yeah, this is dumb. But I finished my first one, still have that one. I worked on that one for maybe, I think, 6 weeks of just sanding, fine-tuning, painting, doing a nice wrap, all of that. And all of that, I did that whole process with sandpaper that my family had in our house and a knife. So, you do not need a lot to make something. You really don't, especially to make something you're proud of. Because if you really, really want to make something, like I wanted to make that one. I just finished reading Harry Potter. I wanted to make that one. I wanted it to be a thing. I wanted it to be something I can hold. So I worked on it until I was happy. It took me 6 weeks. Every day I was doing something on that one. And that is what you have to remember. That if you really, really want to strive for something, no tool is a limitation. You can do anything and everything by hand if you put in enough work.
Very true. Now I think we're gonna have to cut it off there because the sound is gonna be a bit more quiet now because the power just cut out. I noticed now. I was like, oh man, the mic died. And I had to tell them the mic died. And I look at my speaker and the light is off. So that would conclude it.
Yeah. Cheers.
Make sure to subscribe and follow our Instagram at WeCrafty3. Our Twitter is a bit dead at the moment, but we'll try to pick that up in future.
That's your job.
Well, have a great day. Bye.
Yeah. Cheers.